The security camera footage documents a terrifying structural failure in what appears to be a busy public waiting hall or customer lobby where people were gathered, possibly obtaining tickets or queuing. Suddenly, and without warning, the ceiling structure above the crowd immediately and completely collapsed. The falling material and debris overwhelmed the area, burying the individuals who were standing underneath. Building owners and facility managers have a mandatory duty to ensure regular and thorough structural inspections of public areas, especially ceilings and overhead structures, to prevent sudden catastrophic failures. When a building shows signs of structural stress, water damage, or instability, the area must be immediately barricaded and evacuated. The public should always report visible structural defects to authorities immediately. The video documents a severe workplace safety incident in a manufacturing environment involving an employee operating an industrial press or stamping machine. Alarmingly, the worker reached into the machine's critical point of operation while the equipment was powered on or ready for activation. As a result, the powerful ram or compression mechanism descended, making forceful contact with the worker's hand. It is strictly forbidden to place hands or any body part into the moving sections of machinery unless the equipment has been completely de-energized and secured using the lockout, tag-out procedure. Mandatory compliance requires the use of specialized tools and strict adherence to protective machine guarding to prevent direct contact with high-hazard components. Maintaining a safe operational distance is the fundamental requirement to prevent severe crush and amputation injuries. The video documents a serious safety incident within a warehouse or storage facility where a large, heavy freight unit was either improperly packaged or insecurely stacked. Alarmingly, while workers were moving or positioned nearby, the inherent instability of the load caused the massive unit to suddenly shift, tilt, and completely crash to the floor. A worker who was in the process of handling the materials was caught in the collapse and was forcibly struck by the heavy package. Strict adherence to protocols for stacking and securing heavy freight is mandatory. This includes the use of strapping, shrink wrap, and other approved containment methods to guarantee load integrity and stability. It is strictly prohibited to work near or move unstable freight that shows any signs of shifting or tipping. Thorough inspection and stabilization of all heavy loads prior to handling or storage is the essential requirement to prevent catastrophic collapses that pose severe crush and impact risks. The video captures an extremely high-risk situation within a machine shop or construction yard where a worker was performing a cutting operation on a heavy metal shaft from an elevated position. Alarmingly, the area directly beneath the overhead work zone was not barricaded, restricted, or marked with warning signs. Immediately after the cutting task was finished, the large metal shaft fell straight down onto the shop floor. Fortunately, no personnel were directly beneath the impact zone at that precise moment. It is mandatory to establish a clearly demarcated and barricaded danger zone beneath any active overhead work area. Strictly prohibited is performing elevated work without adequate securing measures, tethers or restraints for all materials and tools to prevent dropped object incidents. Management and workers are jointly responsible for ensuring no one enters the restricted zone while materials are being handled, cut, or maneuvered aloft. The video documents a severe industrial incident involving the handling or securing of a massive, heavy metal coil. The footage shows a worker attempting to cut the binding straps or bands securing the coil. Alarmingly, the moment the restraints were released, the immense internal tension of the coil caused it to suddenly and violently spring open, releasing significant energy. A worker who was operating in the immediate vicinity failed to move clear of the hazard path and was forcefully struck by the rapidly uncoiling, heavy material. Strict, certified procedures and specialized, high-tensile strapping must be used to contain heavy metal coils. Workers are absolutely forbidden from placing themselves in the line of fire, the path of potential energy release, when cutting restraints or dealing with materials under tension. Mandatory safety protocols, proper risk assessment, and maintaining a clear evacuation route are essential to prevent severe impact injuries from sudden material release. The video documents a significant material handling incident where workers were using a front-end loader to place a large, heavy metal block or scrap iron mass onto a transport truck bed. Alarming footage reveals that the loading area was not adequately prepared to receive and stabilize the vertical load. Furthermore, likely due to a combination of the operator's lack of experience and the heavy, unstable nature of the object, the load slipped and fell with tremendous force onto the ground. The massive block then rolled rapidly towards the front of the truck, causing severe damage to the truck's cab area. Fortunately, no personnel were in the immediate vicinity and were not impacted by the falling or rolling object. All heavy loading operations require a certified, experienced operator and a thorough pre-task plan. The receiving area, the truck bed, must be properly prepared and secured to safely receive and contain the load. Never attempt to load unbalanced or top-heavy objects without appropriate bracing or handling equipment. Effective load stabilization and maintaining clear safety zones are paramount to preventing catastrophic damage and crush hazards. The video documents a severe construction or rigging incident where workers were attempting to raise a heavy structure, likely a pipe or exhaust stack, to an elevated position for assembly. Alarmingly, the temporary wooden beam or support system being used to hoist or stabilize the load suddenly and violently snapped in half. This immediate equipment failure caused the heavy structure to plummet forcefully downward, striking a nearby worker who did not have enough time to react and escape the path of the falling object. Pre-lift safety checks must strictly mandate the use of certified, load-rated rigging equipment and permanent supports, not temporary or unrated materials. It is strictly forbidden to rely on uncertified materials like timber beams for critical load-bearing tasks. Workers must maintain an absolute safe distance and stay clear of the fall zone, the path of potential collapse, of any heavy material being lifted or secured. The video documents a severe industrial safety incident in a manufacturing or logistics setting where a worker was operating near an active conveyor belt system. Alarmingly, the employee allowed their hand to come into contact with, or too close to a critical pinch point, the area where the moving belt meets a stationary machine component. As a direct result, the worker's hand was caught and compressed by the powerful motion of the conveyor belt. It is strictly forbidden to place hands or any part of the body near nip points, crush zones, or points of operation while equipment is powered on or in motion. Mandatory safety requirements include installing and maintaining robust machine guarding to fully enclose all moving parts and in-running nips, maintaining a safe operational distance and strictly adhering to lockout, tagout, LOTO procedures before any contact or maintenance is essential to prevent severe entanglement and compression injuries. The video documents a dangerous incident within a production facility or workshop where workers were engaged in fast-paced tasks. While one employee was working at an elevated position or near overhead materials, a small spark or momentary flame suddenly ignited. Alarming footage shows that the worker was unable to immediately extinguish the initial ignition. Due to the nature of the materials present, the flame quickly escalated and spread aggressively throughout the shop floor. Strict adherence to hot work permits and fire watch protocols is mandatory when performing tasks that generate sparks or heat, especially near combustible materials. Workers must have immediate access to functional fire extinguishers and be trained in their proper, swift use to handle initial ignitions. All facilities must strictly enforce clear floor policies and proper storage of flammable materials to prevent small sparks from rapidly turning into a large, uncontrollable incident. The footage shows an incident where a worker was standing in close proximity to the control panel or viewing window of a piece of industrial machinery. Alarmingly, while the machine was operating, the protective glass or panel violently ruptured with significant force. The resulting blast of debris or material struck the worker directly in the face. Workers must always maintain a safe standoff distance from machine enclosures that involve pressurized systems, high-speed movement, or potential internal failure. Strict personal protective equipment, PPE, protocols, including reinforced face shields and safety glasses, must be worn when operating or observing potentially hazardous machinery. Regular maintenance and pressure checks are essential to prevent catastrophic panel failure in industrial equipment.